One Piece. Hey everybody, let's talk One Piece, and it's Tripl-L. Yeah, One Piece, chapter 894. Okay, so the spoilers, I put them up yesterday, and now the chapter ended up coming up just a few hours afterwards, and now I'm doing it here. I think it's been like 8 hours since the chapter's been up. Maybe 11 hours. Anyway, whatever. Let's just talk One Piece, chapter 894. So we're going to go through parts. This was a multiple front chapter, so we're getting updates on all the situations. And almost every segment has something that's really worthwhile. So let's just get right into it. So the first segment is covering the Rayleigh-Luffy flashback and then the Katakuri fight. So in the Rayleigh-Luffy flashback, there are a few things that are kind of nice in there. The confirmation of the umbrella, that is color of observation, specifically that some color of observations allow you to feel, or one of the abilities is the ability to feel emotions or feelings of someone else. Okay, cool. Like Rayleigh says, that's all part of color of observation. The cool things about the hockey system, well, not the cool things, it's just an issue of it like being undefined, is that a lot of things fall under observation, while having color of observation does not explicitly say you have all those traits of color of observation. So you have situations like Usopp, who has a color of observation that lets him snipe or lets him zoom in on things. Like this kind of thing is just, it's nice to get the confirmation that it exists as a spectrum and not just one ability. But at the same time, it's like, well, now it's just anything that's extrasensory could be color of observation. That said, this brings up things like Zoro's ability to hear the breath of all things, and considering that color of observation is now like a collection of abilities that you could tap into and not have all of them, the ability to feel the breath of all things, like what other choice do you have but to say that's a variation of color of observation, or that's like a component of color of observation, right? So it's just like things like that. It's just nice to have Rayleigh saying it in these words, because this just ultimately helps whenever you're making arguments for whatever else. So I appreciate that on some point. The whole little segment with Rayleigh and Luffy, it was pretty cool. I wish that all the Straw Hats got their flashback segments. Like, I would love to see a flashback for how Frankie built some of his inventions. I'm pretty sure when Zoro gets his spotlight, he's going to get the flashbacks for how he developed various techniques when he was with Mihawk. I would love to see some flashbacks with Robin. Nami's flashbacks, yeah, sure. I'd love to see some. As the Straw Hats are doing things, it'd be cool to see any of these little flashbacks to justify how they got these abilities. The only other thing on Rayleigh's side that I think is really interesting is that Rayleigh trained Luffy to be capable, not to actually have the ability. So he trained him to the point that if Luffy got in front of someone that had the ability, that he could learn it, or he could like survive against it. I think that's a very interesting way of going about it, and the way that Rayleigh like phrases it is that Luffy, well, it seems that you can train the capability into someone. So you could tell the person how to capitalize on the moment when the moment comes, is pretty much what I'm getting from what Rayleigh is saying, which is an interesting approach to the issue. Like, it's, let's say, the same as if you have to catch a baseball, like the best way to do it would be with a glove, right? So you give the person the glove so that when the baseball comes, you can catch the baseball properly. Or like, I don't know, switch the metaphor to like a bug catching net. You want to catch a butterfly? Arm the person with a net. Oh yeah, if you want to catch a fish, give the person a fishing rod, teach them how to fish, so that maybe then when they're in front of a pond, they can actually fish. It's something like that. I enjoy that kind of rationale, though. I thought it was pretty cool. Moving in though to the Katakuri fight, and the Katakuri fight ends off with the same message that it kind of did last time, which it isn't unimpressive. And I'm kind of just jumping to the end there, but it's ending off with the, is this all you're good at, Straw Hat? Pretty much. It's pretty much Katakuri questioning whether or not Luffy's worth anything. And that's at the end of the chapter, so I guess we should just wait till we get there. Going back to the first part of the Katakuri fight, the impressive things there are that Luffy's starting to get it. Like, we see how he's visualizing Katakuri, and he is able to dodge, which is pretty cool. But then Katakuri unleashes a move, Grilled Mochi, and I look at that and it's just like, that looks like an Awakening exclusive ability. Why? Because the man just separated his still human arm. Like, that's his full arm. He separates it and shoots it at Luffy. The reason I say that's his actual arm being shot off is because he's pretty much regenerating something. When you regenerate something, that's a new body part. And so that's just a cool ability. I mean, like, because this is like, imagine if Mr. 3. Oh my god, he's been gone for so long. Imagine Mr. 3, right? Could you imagine him launching his actual arm, just like pops up his arm and shoots it, and it's just a wax arm at that point. Meanwhile, he's back with his original body and his arm isn't there. Like, that's the equivalent of it. That's pretty impressive. I do think this is just a species of awakening power, because just given the previous patterns that we have, I think this is the first time I've seen something like this. If we've seen something like this before from Paramecia of Katakuri's species, please let me know, because then this whole point's moot, because it will have happened before. But I really do think this is something exclusive to the awakening that Katakuri has achieved. And another thing to note is that it's on fire. Yeah, Haki, if for some reason is able to light things on fire. This has been like previously established. God knows why it happens. Oda only knows. I think it's just because it looks cool. But yeah, rocket propelled Mochi arm. Now the next page was actually really interesting in that Luffy got a hit in on Katakuri. Now if you notice in that page though, Luffy came at Katakuri at high speeds. Right after Katakuri was done with what I truly believe was a complex operation, that being the recreation of his arm. When I'm looking at that, right, the way I see it is pretty much Katakuri had to take his focus off of color of observation, and that was enough of a window for Luffy to unleash a hit on him. I think that's fair. I mean, it's been established before. Katakuri needs to be focusing to actually make it work, and he's looking at his arm. He's taking time to make his arm come back, so that really looks like he might have just lost his focus for just a little bit, just because he had to do the regeneration. The other thing to note is that in that panel or in that page, Luffy's lost a tooth, and also he came in with a Gatling, because we see it right before. So it was a Gatling that connected with Katakuri. So that's another thing too, like Luffy was trying to hedge his bets to try and capture that focus moment. Moving on to the next spot, and this is the beige part. The most, like, whatever, it's just they're doing their plot. They still have the cake. It's not a big deal. But the biggest thing in here is that Big Mom looks scary. You see Big Mom in that panel, and it's just like, yeah, that's not a pretty look. I think I liked her before. Before she looked really scary. Now she looks, yeah, I don't know, man. Like, I feel bad for the lady. She looks a lot like Brûlé now, actually. This is like, that's Brûlé's figure pretty much. Yeah. It seems like Big Mom's just, she's running herself dry. It really does seem like she's just gonna run herself ragged. Now I have an idea about what's gonna happen with Big Mom. I want to get it out before the next chapter, but I'll really have to see. It's like I have a lot in the backlog. I keep promising people videos, and now there's a lot. Anyway, moving on. Next people that we deal with are our wonderful Straw Hats, and they're being attacked by flying slashes coming in from Smooth. Actually, they're not flying slashes. So Smoothie is on the boat. She is giant. There's a lot of questions I have here. Let's just start breaking it down. The Straw Hats are being attacked by slashes. Smoothie would need to be a hardcore swordsman to be able to unleash flying slashes. But if you look at the next panel, the panel where she's giant on that boat, and this is going to be the one that I have in the video, her sword is dripping wet. What that tells me is that she juiced her sword, and that slash was actually just a juice slash. So it's just highly pressurized water. Makes sense because the sword's dripping. I think that's what's going on. Now, initially in the spoilers, I thought it was going to be one of the sisters that was making Smoothie giant. But the sisters are saying if she gets any bigger, the ship's gonna sink. And so that leads me to believe that maybe Smoothie is the one making herself giant, just because, like, just from the context of the way that they're saying things. I mean, like, it could still be that one of the sisters is being forced to, like, make Smoothie giant, but if it is just Smoothie in particular, this could just be that Smoothie filled herself with so much juice that she's just getting giant. I mean, it's possible. Like, she juiced herself into gianthood, pretty much. Now, there is something interesting in what Brooke says in that page, and that was like, he wonders if she's a giant. That's a really interesting thing to say. Like, we know as readers, Smoothie is not a giant because there's no giants in Totland, but him bringing that up, that's like a callback to a plot element. So if Brooke's bringing this up now, I want to feel that this is going to be talked about later, because that's just, you're throwing in a random blurb, and I think that's just setting up for something later. There's going to be like some kind of follow-up on the giant stuff. We'll have to see. And let's see. The chapter was also doing something where Luffy's getting beat up as we switch between different people, which is cool. And we have like the little Sanji pudding side. The Sanji pudding side is just like whatever. It's the same old, same old. And as Luffy's continued getting beat up, we then go over to the Charlotte family, and then we're just pretty much meeting everyone we haven't met at this point. The couplets is the people who show up with Oven in that one scene. The most interesting thing there is it's cool that we're seeing the people that Big Mom allegedly, I think because Big Mom had 10 kids at once, right? So it's just cool to see this happening here, that we're seeing those 10 children. Mind you, they've all just been stripped of character and we just get them as a group, but hey, whatever, you know, Oda needs to like get all these characters out there because he has all the sketches for them. Along with them, we also get Raisin, Yoon, a bunch of other people, like the girl with the long arms. It's all a good time, But then we also, actually, sorry, I forgot. We also got other kids that are on the boats, that being Brownie, Jaconde, and then Snack. Now this was the question mark, Snack, and he's talking about the worst generation. So this is the guy that got beaten up. Okay, so I went back to the chapter just now that Snack was first mentioned in, and they just used the wording takedown for that translation. So yeah, Snack, he's here, he's retired, he's hurt. I hope that we'll see what he can do, but this is one of the the Sweet Commanders, so yeah, that's gonna be something. Anyway, the end of the chapter is just Luffy versus Katakuri, and we're going into Snake Man, which is gonna be great. And we also have like the whole Katakuri questioning Luffy if he's finished already. Katakuri's really enjoying this. Like, you know, you look at this and there's no way around that fact. He's enjoying this, and Luffy's deciding, well, he's gonna use Snake Man. So let's start guessing what Snake Man is. It's a snake. I'm imagining like long, tendrily arms. I'm thinking Reach. Reach is gonna be the thing that's gonna be playing here. We know that Luffy has that snake shot that he once used underwater. We haven't really seen it again, but already we see that his eyes were forming in a weird way, but it seems just the Gear 4 eyes in general once you see it. Yeah, Snake Man. All I can imagine is like, you know, this is a striking form. I want to imagine it's a striking form, but I might be biased. I can only imagine maneuverability, maybe like just wrapping around things too. Like, it'll be interesting. You guys let me know what you think, but I do think, like, thinking of a snake, a viper, it's like it lunges fast and it like pierces. That's what I'm thinking, with like fangs and all that, but we'll have to see. Anyway, that's it. This is the end of the chapter. We went through all of it, guys. Thanks for watching. Till next time, I hope you have a great day.